Good to see you all. Lord bless you. So, we'll go right at it, and if you came in late, I just got here, about 3 minutes late, because I thought I was coming. I wanted to be here 30 minutes early, but it was at 9, not 9:30. That's totally my fault. Don't have to spread that around, but anyhow. Okay, here we go. Report on your investment in the ministry in Haiti. That's our national flag. You can see Haiti, where it is, relation to Cuba, hooked up to Dominican Republic, and then Jeremie, that's where we are, right out there. So, here's a picture of a seminar, and it wasn't this year. Why? Because I never think of taking another picture. So, the best pictures I get is when somebody else comes and they take a picture of everything, but I live there, so but yeah, this is the seminar up at Misson. I gain a few new ones, I lose a few for various reasons. Some new ones come and they're only looking for financial help, so after 2-3 months, and they ask me to build their church and build their house, and I don't do that, then they don't come anymore. Well, I wish they were more interested in the Word than in finances, but that's the way that it goes. Water. I'm glad I got this. I was just going to mention my wife, and I just lost my breath. She takes my breath away. If you're new here, this is my lovely wife. And I don't know what I did, but whoo, I just sucked in what I was supposed to breathe out, I guess. So, main reason I'm there is to teach pastors, train them in the Word of God. That ministry is going very well, and I'm thankful. I could talk to you about a lot of things about that, but it isn't. It's kind of like somebody, if you don't understand anything about motors and you talk to Ron Marshall, you're going to get bored. Because he knows all that intricate stuff. Well, all the things I do with pastors, you know, most people, how's the pastor training going? I say, good. And they say, okay, now tell us about the widows. That's how it goes. So here's the widows and my wife's ministry. They're getting their Christmas presents there. Here's one of my favorite widows, Ilian. And this is a recent Bible school graduate, not from me, but Brother Anel. And he was with me the day we visited her. I said, I got to take a, he's like 3 inches taller than I am, maybe 4. And she's just, she's blind, absolute delight, she is. Here's 2 widows, they're walking up to our home church. I just had to take this picture to give a little encouragement, because the one walks an hour to get to church with her walking stick. She goes by the house of the second one and picks her up, and they walk together, walk up this little ways up the mountain there, and they're old, not easy to walk, and they're always there. So I just thought that'd be a good picture in case you ever think it's difficult getting to church. Yeah. Here's another widow that she's got this hat on, and how did we find out that they like that? They had the baby ones to start with, and one of them was a little large, and one of the ladies put one on, and oh, they just loved it. So now we're getting all those for the widows too. The medical clinics we didn't do as many this year because we, at our home church, instead of doing like 3 medical clinics throughout the year, we established a permanent clinic there that's open every Wednesday. Here's the mobile medical clinics. At the medical clinics, which that's not my calling or Sarah's calling, but it's love of God ministry. It's, you see a need and you want to help. The mobile medical clinics, they pay to see the doctor, but they don't pay for the medicine. In our permanent clinic, they don't pay to see the nurse or the doctor, but they have to buy the medicine. But we buy the medicine the same place the pharmacies buy it in bulk, and then we sell it to the people with no markup, just at that price. Now here, this is where the widow Tata, she was one of Sarah's first widows, and I just preached her funeral. This is where she lived before, and this is the house that we helped her get. This is the day of her funeral, and I was just admiring. I built that door years ago, and it's just as good this day as it was the day I put it on there. And Sarah says she knows why, because anytime it got dirty, Tata would wash it. She just thought she had to really take care of that door, and she did. So here's a picture of her, and most funerals in Haiti are at the home, some in the church. The burial is almost always at the home, and people come and sit under the trees, and you have the message. It was a good day to honor her. Here's our youth group, many of them in the youth group. They volunteer, they volunteer to take the food to the widows that can't walk to the church the once a month when they have the food distribution for widows. And our youth group volunteers to do that. I just got a picture of our youth group yesterday. They're washing clothes for, they didn't say which widow or widows, but they were all at the river washing clothes. They sent me that picture. What I love about it is our youth ministry. I said the object of youth ministry is to get youth involved in ministry, and that's what they are doing. It's just a great blessing to me. And then this lady's house was leaking, and they said, Pastor Dave, if we could just get 6 pieces of tin, we could repair her house where it's leaking, and here they're doing that. And when you see this, yeah, that's not that nice a house, but it's. Then I told him, this is kind of a funny thing here. There's another widow lady close by, and her house, which is this one, she's blind. And they're telling me how bad. They said, Pastor, we have to do something for this widow. I said, send me a picture of her house. They sent me 3 pictures, all of them close-ups, like this. How bad it was. I said, well, anyway, now I'm going to take a minute and share my wife's dream, vision, what she has been praying about for years, but I felt the time has come. She wants to build a widow's residence on the property of our home church. She has the vision. She has the vision for the ministry. I have the vision for the building. And the idea is building 2 rooms, probably 15 or 16 feet square, that can each hold 4 single beds, and then a 6-foot connection in the middle, divided in half, just say 8 foot by 6, and that would be 2 showers, bathrooms, and the men, a third of her widows are men, and the men would come in from, and they had restroom and doors from their room, and the ladies from the other side, and we would have a septic. There's more and more septics being done in Haiti now. There's anybody that can, they're putting in a flush toilet. They build a little place alongside their house, but the flush doesn't work because they don't have water to come in, so they just use a bucket. So we would do that, but Sarah says, I don't think my husband will be satisfied. He'll build something. She's right. So anyway, that's that's what we want to do. We have 5 widows that we would be putting in there now, ones that can't walk. One man that is very difficult to walk, he's got a cancer in his leg, and a couple blind widows. Start with that. We get a little more support for our school feeding program. The idea is the widows would eat 10 months a year at the school. When the school has, you could say, hot lunch, then the widows would get the same meal. So that's, I'm sharing that with every church. I believe I can build it. Rough figures, $12,000. The total project, everything up and running, and it's probably a $15,000 project. The first idea is we have 4 deaconesses in our home church. They are tremendous workers, volunteer all the time. Idea is to give them a little money. They're there every day anyway. Then they can do a little bit extra and help care for those widows. So that's something we want to do when we get back. Now the youth, I told them, make a list and tell me what you want to do, and they want to do this for the widows, and they want to do this ministry and that, and once in a while they want to have, they kind of design it for 3 Saturdays a month they're doing ministry or a different activity like music lessons, and then 1 Saturday a month they have recreation and play soccer. And then also on the list was a retreat, because we've done retreats with them before. I said, fine, where do you want to go on a retreat? They said, your house. So that's great. We at our house, and here's they are, and well, I'll show you that another picture. They're playing their favorite game, bingo. And the box there is the box of prizes, and it's soap, toothpaste, toothbrush, shampoo, lotion. Yeah, just everyday things that we all have, but they want to win a game so they can get one of those. It's really exciting, and the game is, and when we have like the president, Kibe, or the youth sponsors, this young couple, they're just great with the youth. Nobody wants to be the one to call out the numbers, because they don't get to play a chance to win. It's just, it's awesome. But I tell them, out of respect for the neighbors, you can holler all you want, but when it's 10 o'clock, you have to start saying, praise the Lord. Really quiet. And boy, they respect that. They just, the minute it's 10 o'clock, you can't hear them, but they're still playing. Yeah, I just love it. Okay, here, when they're in town, we walk to visit different widows, and they sing for them and pray for them. And this is Madame George with the red bandana right there sitting in the middle. She's 100 years old. December 24th, she'll be 101. Just an example of the life expectancy, the average in Haiti is 60-something. So, but when someone has good care, she gets better care than the widows in the mountains, because she's in town, and Sarah's has her living with a family, and she gets food regularly. Yeah, she's just a real blessing. Here's the chapel service at the retreat at our house. And sound, what do we do for sound?
It should be working.
All the way, that's not loud from here. Oh. Now you recognize the tune. Yeah, what a blessing. Well, we've had accordions donated. In the middle is Dr. Jackson. He used to be, years ago, real good on the accordion. And then he got into the keyboard and the guitar, and he hardly ever played it. And now he's picking up the accordion again so he can teach different people how to play the accordion. So we're praying that that's really going to go well. I love the accordion. Doesn't need amplification, doesn't need a battery. They don't have to plug it in. And one accordion can be loud enough for a whole church singing, yeah? Here's Pastor Lisage, 9 kids. There's all in the family in front of his house, and money was donated to get him out of the mud, and he wrote a letter afterwards. Yeah, just this project, this is when we didn't think we were coming here, and I started all these projects, and then we found out we could come. So instead of just sending the guys, I came with my generator and my chop saw, my battery tools, and I had the guys on the roof that they tell me how many inches, and I cut the boards, and this is a long ways away from us. The guys there, every time I cut one of those, and our 2x4s are 2x4, hard wood, and I just ding like that, they laugh. They'd never seen anything like that. But we got the frame for the roof done in one day, and another day we came back and put the tin on. There's the crew that put the frame on the top. And then we have another guy doing the doors, Pastor Dave. That's what I do in the midst of doing the other things. So that's the finished new house for his family with the old house on the left, just to see the contrast. They were there, well, ever since they've been married. Every time it rains, water runs through that house. This is real low ground. Yeah, it's a real blessing to be able to help him out. Now we're done and we're ready to go. We say we want to take a picture. Pastor Lisa says, I'm sweaty. My wife too, she's been working, making food over the fire. And before he got done telling me they couldn't take a picture, his wife had gone in and come out with this dress on. She's, I can take a picture. So, they both are missing the 2 front teeth. And that's something I told them when we get back we want to do. It's a couple $100 US to get to take care of that. So yeah, we're not done helping them yet. I didn't have time. I didn't do her closet in the bedroom yet. I'm going to do that, but yeah, we're just well, that's their church. Pastor Lisage, their church right there. That's just yeah, it's not a good structure, but yeah, I hope that's not too loud for you. Oh, yes, yes, oh, yes, yes, Jesus, Jesus, I'm calling out, help me, help me. Now here's another one just recently. You know, now most people, they like the widow ministry and the houses for widows, but these are 3 projects we just did, and this is just letting you know, you people invest in this. So this church, they're meeting outside the pastor's house because in a big storm, their building that wasn't much of a building anyway, it was just tarps over poles. So this is a memorial church building. A fella in Springfield, Missouri, his dad died, left him an old car. He sold it for $9,500. He said, will this build a church? I said, it'll come close. And it did. We're, I think, about 1,500 more than that. But here's where they were meeting. And now, yeah, I do the trusses, and guys there helping me, and we got it that done, and that's That's the near finished project, but they're in. This will be their 5th Sunday today, where they're inside and worshiping. The doors are not yet, and we haven't done the final plaster to make it prettier. But when that's done, then we already have the picture of this guy's dad that will hang inside that church building, and people can explain how they got that building as in memorial of this man. This is a house we built for this couple. Had one little boy. They had twin boys born. They died after 3 days. And in the midst of that tragedy, and they were living with somebody else. They didn't have their own place. And we were just really happy that out of that tragedy, and I shared that in a newsletter, money was donated and we could build them this house. I made this 2 different, well, the one on the roof, so I can use our truck and haul a lot of stuff like this. So I got the wood frame in the back. That metal tube that's on top of the cab, I bought that. But since I took this picture, it wasn't strong enough. It was bending, so I built a wooden one for the top of the cab too, and I can haul a lot of stuff. But that's our workhorse with going different places, and I got rebar on the back, rebar and 2x4s on top. I got tin in the middle, and yeah, it's okay. There's 2 of our young people in the youth group. They're just getting baptized now, giving their testimony. This is Finelka. She's one of the 2 gals that lives with us. She gave such a wonderful testimony when she talked about Jeremiah in chapter 1, when the Lord told Jeremiah since his mother's womb, his hand was on him. And she says, that's the way I've felt in my life. When a young person gives testimony like that from the Word, it really thrills me. Here's another church we went to, just out, a long ways out, and you just see how they build. They can't do anything more on the church yet, but they have a generator and a speaker, as you can see. We went there, and they decided to work on the road on Sunday, I suppose because of less traffic. But instead of doing 1/2 and then 1/2, they did the whole thing, so they blocked the road about a half hour before where we're going to go. So, of course, we have to leave our vehicle there and walk, and then there's motorcycles there willing for a price to take us up there. And they wanted way too much money. I said, we'll walk. Well, we walked for 1 minute, and they pulled up, and they gave it to us for about 1/3 of what they were asking. So, here's another view, and I'll show you. Here, we're starting the way back now, but Saris and I were on one motorcycle. The 2 girls were on the other motorcycle. So the driver and Saris are on the seat cushion, and I'm on that little square steel grate on the back. And there was, where we are now up by the church, there's a path. All the rest of it was just rock. And we're going on that, and finally I just said, stop. And I got off and said, you take my wife, I'll be coming along on foot. Either that or die, anyway. But it was a great day. Okay, we had somebody in our home church that had a motorcycle accident, couldn't work in his garden. So just like in the States, a farmer, he's sick during harvest, the other farmers help out, or hay in season, anything like that. So about 50 people from the church came, and they're weeding in the, you would say a cornfield, yeah. And now where the banana plants are growing, you couldn't even see them. And now the men with their machetes, they do the weeding, and then the ladies rake it up. And out of 50 people, we had 1 hoe and 1 rake. That's, yeah. So all the rest, all the men have a machete, and the ladies just with a stick. They rake up all the weeds. And then just like back when North Dakota, when we were on the farm and Mom had this big garden and you're digging up the potatoes, you never get them all, and and then later you're digging in there and you find potatoes. Well, they're finding, when they're weeding, they find patat, which is a form of a potato. Anyway, so not to waste them, they start a fire and we're all eating patat while we're working. Yeah. Now here's a wedding ministry. This is at our house. Jackson and his wife, the day of their wedding. Sarah does all the work and I just preach. But anyway, that's, and the men, they get a suit as a gift when they get married. The ladies get to borrow a wedding dress. But I want to explain why we have so many at our house. Because in our culture, if you're out in the mountains, you know, you get married in the home church and you don't have a big party, a lot of food and drink, like you got to have what soda pop you call it, and if you don't do that, you get severely criticized, almost ostracized. But if you go off someplace else and get married, come back, they just hug you and say congratulations and everything's fine. So we let our pastors know, you can bring them and a small group of people, they can come to our house, get married, no problem. So we do that several times. And this is a fun thing too, because you see our vehicle on the right there, our Prado, and so we take the bride and the groom, the best man and the matron of honor, and to them that's just like we would feel if the biggest, nicest limousine possible came and picked us up from the wedding and took us to the house. And they got all these motorcycles following and ahead of us, and they're honking. You know, it's fun, and we enjoy being able to bless them in that way. Here's a funeral that was at the church building, a young girl that died, and now we're going to where she's going to be buried, and all the people that are following, just to show you that that's what these pictures are, just to give you a glimpse. Here's a house that up until a year ago had people living in it, and then this isn't done with cement. It's just mostly mud that's put on with this bamboo slats, and if you don't put a little on every year or two, it just wears away, and that's what happened here. I said I would like to buy the tin that's still on there. It was already sold. Yeah, when they abandoned the house. We have suits that are donated mainly for weddings, but we at our home church, we had a convention, 3 days. That's what we call here an old-fashioned camp meeting, okay? People come and stay there, and so Brother Leonard, one of the church board members, he didn't have a suit, but when it's convention time, they really want to dress up more, so he got a new suit, and I just thought this was a neat picture to show you how tickled he was to have a suit. This guy is the father of Pastor Lisage, and when we went there and we're working on the house, he told me, Pastor Dave, I've been a little discouraged. I need something from the Bible to encourage me. I gave him a passage. He's sitting there reading the Bible while we're working. I just took a picture of that. Here's my new bench vise. Mine broke, and I was visiting our professional school where they train carpenters, electricians, and seamstresses, and cooking, everything. And I went there because I had some Haitian lumber. I needed it to be planed, and so you pay so much a dozen, and the guy gave me a tour. My vise had just broken, and in the room where the shop, where they must have had 10 of these on different places where the guys are all working. I said, yeah, that's the one thing I need to get. Mine broke. And he told one of the assistants there, he said, take that one off and give it to Pastor Dave. I said, well, you want me to buy it? He said, Pastor, for all you do for us here at Haiti, he said, the least we can do is give you a bench vise. That is uncommon. I've never had that happen before. It's always give me. And that's just a very nice gesture that they did. This is Brother Lee, a preacher that's very old, but we did a lot of work together 25, 27 years ago. He lives in town now with his daughter, and she says, I'm the only one. This is his birthday. I come to visit him every year on his birthday, just out of love and respect. And that means a lot to his daughter. The last 2 years, at least by response, he doesn't seem to know me or anybody, doesn't talk, but I'm there with them, talk to him about the good old days and pray with him, and just thought I'd show you that. Some people might remember a picture about 4 years ago, this very boy Vava and his sister Lonis, when Vava was smaller than his smaller sister here, and now here 4 years later, and yeah, his feet almost touched the ground. That's just a fun thing. I was working on a door on this family's house, and their little girl, I asked if she could hold my hat while I was in the house, so that's how she was holding it. And I thought she did a good job of that. Pastor Gene, he's the one in Florida, nursing home there. He's 98 years old. We'll see him on the way back, Lord willing. He's the one that recruited me. My Barnabas, when he went to get Paul and had Paul come back and teach the people. Gene was a builder. He's a block layer by trade turned pastor, and he built different churches in Haiti many, many years ago. So he said, Dave, I'm a builder. I'm not a teacher, and he recruited me to come there. And 5 of the kids in the youth group, actually 6, but 1 couldn't come. When the youth group was really small, those 5, they were faithful, and they really kept, now the youth group is 20 or 22, they really kept it going. We wanted to do something special for them. So we took them across the island, south to Kais, much larger city, just, they never seen it. So we just drove them over there, and then we thought, well, we're only a half hour. We drive up north on the coast where Sarah and I were on our honeymoon. So this is that day. Just took a picture there, Port Salut. And a lot of changes there since we were there, like because of the hurricane and the roads washed out. And here's the picture we have for you. We take one every year. Here we're ready to go to a wedding, and just a prayer reminder for you. Here's one of my favorites. I had it up there a couple years ago. God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the call. And I would have never dreamed that I'd be a missionary. I always felt called to be a pastor. My high school, Mrs. Rorby, my high school English teacher, advised me not to go to college because she didn't think I would make it. And apart from the grace of God, I suppose I wouldn't have, but the main thing, and I didn't know, I wasn't a good student in high school, but I wasn't really interested in anything but playing sports. I was a quarterback of the football team, the top scorer on the basketball team, and third base and pitcher on the baseball team, and the #1 runner on our track team. You know, I mean, when I was young, I was good at that stuff. And I was, yeah, that's what I did. I wasn't really interested in studying. Maybe I could have, but the point is, the Lord is the one that directed me, and I just like to say that, because you never know what that's so true. I wasn't the most qualified to do what I'm doing, but by God's grace, Him qualifying me, because I said, yes, Lord, that's what I want to do. And twice in Ecclesiastes, Solomon says, for a man to enjoy what God has given him to do under the sun, this is the blessing of God. I don't think there's a lot of people that can say what I say. If God said, Dave Stockeland, what could you do if you could choose anything at all? This is what I would choose. What I'm doing is what I want to do, and it's a great, great blessing. Well, anyway, that's a quick report from the missionary that was late getting here, but anyhow, questions? Alex.
How do people acquire land for you to build a house on? Do they purchase property?
Most of them, very seldom do they purchase to build. They have it. And most of it is because Dad had property and divides up the kids that stay around, and some kids went someplace else. You know how that goes. But yeah, most of them, they have property. Other people, like the young couple we built a house for that lost the twin boys, that property was very little, but that property was, you might say, given to them, but nobody in that area really owns it. It's owned by a couple brothers. I'm friends with them. One of them died now, but they own that big area there, and they just let people, you wanna take a little piece here and live there, you can. But some people, give me an example of somebody that bought Pastor Joel years ago when he was in a parsonage, and the church, well, that's a long story, but that mission wouldn't do anything for him. And we didn't want to build a new parsonage because that mission wasn't an honest mission. So I didn't, but he bought property quite a ways away from the church, closer to town. Yeah, that was years ago. But yeah, that's a good question. But most of them, they already have it by family. And then now, like recently, Enel, and he had property from his dad, but it wasn't in a good location, and he just sold it to buy property closer to the church, and a better piece of ground. That kind of thing. Good question.
Do the kids that you are pastoring, do you have any trouble with them staying in the church?
Pastors?
No, the kids that are in the youth group. Children.
With them, in other words, trouble because they might not want to go to church. No, I don't think we have that problem. There are young people that aren't there, that aren't in the youth group, and we wish they would. But our home church youth group is something we think quite special, and there are kids that weren't going to church and come and ask. They come and ask, we want to join the youth group. And then they'll tell them, well, you got to go to church. You can't go to church. In fact, the young man that's president, 2 boys recently came and said they wanted. He says, well, we're a Christian youth group. He says, you got to get saved if you're going to. Now, you pray. And I said, and actually, and then they asked me, and the president of the youth group says, these two, they want to join the youth group, and I told them they got to get saved, and so they want to. And I talked to them, and I felt one was sincere, one wasn't. I talked to them both afterwards, and I was right. And the one that prayed that wasn't sincere, he wants to be in the youth group, and you can't force, you know what I mean, you can't decide for them. But I think it's a neat thing when you're not, instead of having to, well, come on, join the group. When they see what the group is doing, and the ministry they're doing, and the fun that they have. In fact, the peer pressure, positive peer pressure is great. They let them know, if you aren't coming to church and you aren't coming to our ministry activities when we go to Pastor Dave's house, you can't come. I mean, I don't have to tell them that. The other teens are, you aren't going to get in on that. That's a good question. Thank you.
I have one other question is, I saw that there's a lot of stone up and down the mountain. Why don't they build houses out of stone?
You're the first one I've ever heard said we have stones. We have rocks. Okay. But anyway, you're right. We do, but it costs more money. When you build with rock, for instance, well, that pastor's house you saw, that there's no rock in that area. That's down in this long valley. Most places we can't go in the rain because you're going up. That one we can't get there after rain because it's all mud. There's no rock in that area. So we built that out of block. But, like the couple that lost their twin boys, that's rock. That's rock with mortar. And that's how we build. But we don't have the money to do that for everybody, and they don't have the money. Yeah. A lot of the houses, when these couples get married and we help them, we tell them, we're going to buy the tin for the roof, and we will buy all the cement for what you need for the foundation and a concrete floor, and the rest is up to you. And they get family and friends, and they're hauling sand and they're hauling rock and for the foundation, but most of them weave bamboo to start with. And then we've seen them after 2-3 years, they get a little money, then they start doing more for the walls. That's a good observation, and that's exactly what we do with rock when we can. Yeah. George.
How many homes and churches are in the future that you're going to build?
Can somebody loan me some fingers and toes? Probably not that many. I mean, I don't have the plan right now for several more churches, but the need is there, and homes it just won't quit. But that's one of the reasons Sarah's vision for this widow's residence, like this widow that's blind, and the youth group says we got to do something for her. First thought was, we'll build her a nice little one-room house. And then we thought, no, because she'd be the first one that's going into the widow's residence. So no sense doing that. When we get back, we want to build this widow's residence and put her in there so that we can care for her. Yeah, it's a lot of them, yes.
Dave, any vision that you're training pastors, yet we also see there's a need for those who can build houses and things. Is that part of your training as well, as to train craftsmen?
No, I can't. Well, not exactly, but I do teach them, for instance, how to do trusses, how to do certain. I inherited that from my grandpa, so like when those trusses, and I'm measuring and telling them what to do, and they think, well, you got to have something in the middle. I said, no, you do not want anything in the middle. You want it the middle on the top, and you go out halfway out here, and you want all that weight to be spread out this way. Okay, and things like that, and they're very good at building the way that they build. I'll just give you the difference. Somebody was coming to our house, and he told me, he asked somebody, when I get to that street, how do I know which house is Pastor Dave's? They said, just keep walking, and when you find a front gate that is level and square, that'll be his. So I thought, well, that's kind of nice to hear, And now a half a block up from us, we got a neighbor that has beautiful green garage doors that are level and square, and they open and close level. And yours truly, the neighbor came and said, well, he actually asked me, they're raising their hands, they're leaving, they're all going.
Well,
anyway, not officially, but indirectly I helped them with that.
You need to end because we have to get over to the sanctuary.
You gotta go? Go ahead, we'll be coming along. God bless you all.
Yeah.